Welcome to the 2022 KBRF Radio News Debate. My name is Sarah Duffy, and I will be your moderator. Today's debate will include candidates for the City of Fergus Falls City Council positions for Wards 1 and 4. The City of Fergus Falls is comprised of 4 wards. Each ward has a total of 2 council members, with a total of 8 council members serving on the City Council. Ward 1 is in the southeast part of the city. Ward 2 is the northeast sector of the city. Ward 3 is the northwest sector of the city. And Ward 4 is comprised of the southwest portion of the city. Each council member serves a 4-year term. Again, today we will hear from our Ward 1 and our Ward 4 candidates, and tomorrow we will have our Ward 2 and 3 candidates. Tomorrow's debate is at the same time from noon to 1 right here on KBRF 1250 or in person at the council chambers at City Hall. The election for these city offices will be held on Tuesday, November 8th, 2022 in the City of Fergus Falls between the polling place hours of 7 a.m. and 8 p.m. The polling place for Ward 1 is the Fergus Falls Public Library Community Room, and the polling place for Ward 4 voters is at the Big Wood Event Center. Our debate today will be, again, from candidates from Ward 1. We will then hear from our Ward 4 candidates. Each ward will be provided 30 minutes for their debate. At the outset, I would request that our candidates and everyone in the audience be respectful to one another. To ensure a fair and objective debate, questions have been sent to all of the candidates ahead of today's debate. I will not be taking any questions from the audience today. We will open each debate by providing the candidates with 2 minutes to provide an opening statement. We will then go into our questions. Each candidate will be provided 2 minutes to answer each question. If a candidate would like to provide a rebuttal answer, please indicate that by just raising your hand, and I will provide you 30 seconds for a rebuttal. All rebuttals are to be made while affording due respect to your fellow opponent. After our questions, candidates will be given 2 minutes to provide a closing statement. We'll use a 2-card system today for timing. So we will hold up a yellow card to indicate 60 seconds remaining, and a red card indicates fewer than 10 seconds remaining. All time limits will be enforced today, so please adhere to these guidelines. Lastly, to be heard by the audience beyond the debate room, know that the microphones will only amplify sounds directly in front of them. Please ensure that your microphone is facing you while speaking and that you are speaking loudly and within a reasonable distance from the microphone. Now that I have laid the foundation for the basic procedure for today's debate, we will begin with our Ward 1 candidates. I will start with Krista Hagberg, the candidate to my right, and then I will alternate who answers first with each question. The 2 candidates from Ward 1 include incumbent Councilwoman Krista Hagberg and Laura Job. So we will begin with our opening statements. Councilwoman Hagberg.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being here. I'm Krista Hagberg. I work full-time at Nexus Kindred Family Healing, which is a private and nonprofit adoption and foster care placement agency here in town, where I live with my family. Kurt is an inside sales manager at Northern Contours, and we have a 13-year-old son and a 10-year-old daughter who are both avid hockey players. In our spare time, we enjoy skiing, camping, and generally being outdoors. My family has owned and operated a business downtown here for over 55 years this month, and I know that that's only possible because of the people who call Fergus Falls home. Having lived in Fergus Falls my entire life, I have worked with some of the best community supportive agencies we have. These experiences have given me the opportunity to sit down with people from various areas of personal and economic diversity. Throughout my career, I've seen firsthand this community's drive and the ability to support one another. Having now been on the council, I've been given the opportunity to do just that and hope to continue doing that work for the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Job.
All right, thank you. My name is Laura Job. I have been a resident here of Fergus Falls for about 12 years. My husband and I moved here with our 4 children, like I said, about 12 years ago. I am the COO of Maya Enterprises. Maya Enterprises houses Smith Family Chiropractic, the Sears set of Fargo, and also Revive Medical. I was recently posed a question the other day as I was out speaking with the community. And the question I was posed was, why do I feel that I'm a great candidate for City Council? And how does that pertain to what do I do every day in my professional life? One of the many hats that I wear right now is leadership, along with accountability. Accountability to my clients, accountability to my team, and accountability to myself. I also have a huge financial responsibility, daily, weekly, and monthly. These are just a few attributes that I have that I think is going to make me a great candidate for City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now go into our questions section of the debate, and I will start again with Ms. Hagberg. If elected, what are your top 3 goals for your term, and how do you plan to achieve these goals?
Thank you. My very first goal is to see more preteen and teenage youth-centered social and recreational facilities. I believe that we need to start conversations with other youth organizations in Fergus Falls, as well as with the school district, to get these things rolling. Our preteens have very little in this community that they can engage in when they aren't engaged in sports and other arts and things. So we really need to be focused on those age brackets for youth in our community. I also want to continue to capitalize in the city's great working relationship with Greater Fergus Falls to engage in conversations with manufacturing companies to help incentivize to bring them to town. The newly advertised Amazon Last Mile facility is a great example of a public and private partnership that included a conditional use permit that this current council helped to approve. And lastly, I want to help push out more opportunities for the public education on the city's day-to-day business and help residents understand and truly trust the city staff and the hard work they do behind the scenes. The decisions and projects and votes that happen to move our city forward are always made with the best of intentions to make Fergus Falls better. City staff, along with council members, work and live and play here and pay the same taxes that everyone else does. With Jean Bowman now on board as a dedicated communications manager, I believe we are well on our way to achieving a more streamlined platform for communication and education to the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Joe?
So the 3 top goals are definitely going to be the 3 main concerns that were brought to me as I was speaking with many residents of Ward 1. Number 1 being the streets, roads. We've definitely all heard those concerns. We need to bring a long-term plan for improvements together. We need to also have the proper funding, and we need to be able to make sure that we can execute that. The second concern that I have been hearing is development, business development, economic growth. We need to continue to support and grow the current businesses that we do have here. We also need to attract new businesses. We need to promote ourselves more. We have 5 interchanges on the I-94 corridor. We have the ability to attract many different industries. Financial transparency is another goal that I have. Now, when I say financial transparency, that means the complete breakdown of projects and the means that it was afforded. Financial transparency will help preserve the very important trust each resident places in the city. Without that transparency, there is no trust. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question, we will start now with Ms. Jobe. What do you feel are the biggest challenges facing the city currently, and what would be your plan to address these challenges?
Sure. That really kind of comes back to the top 3 goals, too. These, again, are the common concerns that I've heard. Along with our roads, the spending, and the need for higher paying jobs, we also have a huge challenge of communication. There just simply hasn't been enough communication from the city council members to the city to the residents of Fergus Falls. We need to provide open forums. We need to also hold public hearings and public comments. These hearings are going to give the residents the chance to voice their concerns. It'll also give them the chance to learn more about the proposed projects and improvements so they can stay informed. Because if a resident is informed, they're going to stay engaged. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hagberg?
While things like workforce shortages, childcare, and affordable housing continue to be struggles within our city, Fergus Falls is not alone in this. These are statewide and nationwide issues. But for Fergus Falls, I feel like our biggest challenge is the negative narrative and division surrounding efforts being made to grow and enhance our rural landscape. After sitting on the council for the last 4 years, I've heard so much misinformation. As I previously mentioned, having a new full-time communications manager will allow us to share facts in various formats to residents in a way that is clear and factual without being opinion-based on social media platforms. I plan to help flesh out ways to create a user-friendly one-stop shop of information within the city's website that are fact-based. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we will go back to Ms. Hagberg for our third question. On Tuesday, November 8th, 2022, general election ballot residents of Fergus Falls will be asked to determine whether or not a local option sales tax should be implemented for 1, an outdoor aquatic center, 2, De Lagoon Park improvements, both of these projects, or neither project. What is your position on these specific improvements and our overall maintenance and improvements of the city's parks and green spaces?
I fully support both of these projects and think they will not only benefit families, but will also help stimulate our local economy. The parks and green space in Fergus Falls are some of the best assets that we have. As you can see by the newly packed and always busy Dr. Allen Magnuson Park, improving and investing in parks and green spaces is so important. Public city parks add so much to economic vitality, environmental health, and the overall quality of life of a community. Not only do parks help improve local tax base and increase property values, they also provide a place for people to stay active regardless of their ability to pay. Parklands have been proven to improve the quality of the air we breathe, the groundwater, and they prevent flooding and also provide habitats for wildlife. Parks add value to communities that goes far beyond dollars on a piece of paper, and they provide a sense of pride and unity and are a true asset. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Joe?
So when I look at this question, it's not about what I want to see as an individual, whether I agree with what's on the ballot or not. It's really up to City Council to enforce and make sure that you're staying on budget. If these proposed, these two proposed projects on the ballot are voted in, we have to make sure that we properly manage them. We have to keep those projects on budget. Now, I do have some concerns with the, projects that are on the ballot for November 8th. There's a lot of miscommunication that is out there right now. There's a lot of uncertainty. I've spoken to several hundred people who just are not informed enough to make that decision November 8th. I've been educating them. And when I say educating them, I'm not pushing my agenda on them. I'm simply telling them these are two separate projects. They're 100% funded by the community. It's a half-cent sales tax that's going to replace the sales tax from the library that ended at the end of September. I encourage everybody to dive in and learn more about what is on the ballot November 8th.
Thank you. Our next question, we will start with you, Ms. Joe. Roads and infrastructure have been a big topic, and you mentioned this earlier, for Fergus Falls residents for the past several years. What is your understanding of how road projects are planned and funded, and how the City Council is involved or not involved in making those decisions?
So I have basic understanding of the roads. We have city roads, we have county roads, we have state roads, all within our city limits. I also understand that there are 3 phases to our maintenance. We have emergency maintenance, we have preventative maintenance, and we have predictive maintenance. Unfortunately, we have been working under emergency maintenance for some time here. We need to create a long-term plan to address the breakdown of our infrastructure so that we can move from that emergency maintenance mode to a more successful preventative and predictive. I understand that the state does provide some funding for our roads, along with what we put in as far as budget goes. This funding, though, also is going to include snow removal and the maintenance of the roads. Nevertheless, we do need to look at increasing that, as a lot of our streets are failing at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hagberg?
City staff use the ICON pavement management system to determine pavement condition index numbers, or PCIs. PCIs are given to street segments with 0 being the worst and 100 being excellent. Utilizing the PCI numbers, as well as the street inventory spreadsheet of historical maintenance, along with GIS mapping, the city then determines which areas of the city haven't received maintenance in some time. In general, the staff then brings infrastructure candidates forward based on need, although a petition for improvements can be brought forth by a resident. Funding sources vary from project to project due to the type of improvement, either being preventative maintenance projects like a seal coat, mill and overlay, or to a full reconstruction of the utilities and street pavement. Staff present funding options to the City Council for consideration. The City Council is very involved and can direct staff accordingly. The council has multiple decisions and votes during the entire reconstruction process, especially when special assessments are a funding source. Thank you.
Thank you. We will come back to Ms. Hagberg for our next question. We all want to have pride in our city. What do you think are the greatest assets of Fergus Falls, and what do we need to do to keep moving forward and progressing as a city?
Honestly, I think that our greatest asset collectively are the people who choose to live here. When there's a need or a cause or an event, there is never a shortage of people on board to help make a difference or improve whatever may be going on. Investments to our community come in more forms than funding or money. They come in terms of time and attitude. We need to continue championing for positive growth and commit to spreading the word that Fergus Falls really is a welcoming and thriving place to live. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Joe?
We do have pride in our community. Our predecessors have done an excellent job at retaining small-town values, historic character, scenic beauty, and a sense of community. We have a wonderful school system. We have a safe and inviting community to raise a family, and so much more to offer. Those are huge assets right here. It's who we are. Thank you.
Thank you. We will now go to our closing statements. So we started with Ms. Hagberg for opening. So for closing statements, we will start with Ms. Jobe.
City council members are your elected leaders to be the voice of your neighborhood. Great leadership doesn't come from sitting back and waiting for a problem or a concern. Great leadership is being proactive, getting out in the community, speaking to people, finding out what they want and what they need. Give them a voice. When I am elected, I will be that voice for Ward 1.
Thank you. Councilwoman Hagberg.
Serving on the City Council has given me a new perspective to things that I was naive to. There's nothing that I want more than to continue seeing greatness build and grow in and around Fergus Falls. But I've found out over the last 4 years that that does not happen overnight. The decisions that I help make every day are always for the betterment of the community, even when they don't align with someone else's views. I hope to be able to continue those works in my current capacity. Come November 9th, nothing will change for me. I am committed to continuing to advocate for Fergus Falls and to lend my skills and talents wherever I can to keep us moving forward and progressing. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you to both of you for your answers today and for stepping up to run for city office. We need people like you to step up and serve our community and serve our city, so it's very, very much appreciated. I know oftentimes being a city council person is a thankless job. So that will conclude our Ward 1. We will be back with our Ward 4 candidates. We'll be back with more of the Fergus Falls City Council debates on News Talk 1250 KBRF after a few words from our sponsors. Thank you.